Okay, we are going to discuss the latest NBA stuff. Now, of course, some of you might be getting tired of it, but I guess I don't have much else to say regarding sports. Unfortunately, I can't really watch the World Cup that much unless I go to the gym while it's happening. So maybe I'll try to get there. In fact, Mexico is playing tomorrow morning. So, and I know some of you might find it like very odd that I support the Mexican national team, but fuck you. I'll root for whoever I want, and I always have rooted for Mexico. It has nothing to do with any special love of Mexico as a country. I don't really know many people specifically from Mexico. I know more people from El Salvador than I do from Mexico. And Salvadorians seem to be pretty normal people. Mexicans, I don't know as many, but I like the team, and good for them. So fuerza el tri. We're talking about basketball right now. And I would like to say that, the issue with LeBron James leaving the Cleveland Cavaliers to go to the LA Lakers, it kind of encompasses why I think the NBA is going to shit. And I had a testy argument with somebody this weekend who said, well, the NBA is just as popular as ever. It's like nowhere near. Not even close. What was it? I should have brought this up earlier. So the NFL draft was beating the shit out of the... Here we go. I think I have articles left this month. So the NFL draft, a reminder that LeBron James and the NFL is still far from overtaking pro football. You had like the NBA, the NFL draft was just blowing the shit out of the NBA finals or it wasn't even the finals, it was the playoffs. So there were multiple games on, but people were watching the NFL draft. It's like people will watch the draft for a player that might never reach the field. Who even knows? I mean, people get injured in training camp all the time in the NFL before they even reach the field. They would rather watch that than watch an actual live NBA playoff game. That's how bad it was. But this friend of mine, with all due respect, he's a pretty well respected person, has great opinions, but he's wrong about this because the NBA is a joke. The NBA is a farce. It's a caricature of itself. The players are still pretty awesome. LeBron James. I've never been as much of a LeBron fanatic as the majority of people from around the area because I grew up in the era of Michael Jordan, and I never really cared about the Cavaliers or any of the other Cleveland sports teams anyway. But he is an amazing player, LeBron James, and we're gonna have to divide this from first the sports aspect of this issue, and then I guess the social aspect, because LeBron James is more than just an athlete. He does have some cultural significance. Did I make this private? Oh, well, whatever, I guess. So essentially, I think people are not getting my notifications. I got a message from Ryu last time that he didn't get my notifications. So, sorry about that. Nothing I can do about it. You guys have to, I guess, deal with it. Sorry. I mean, I don't feel any better for it. But the fact of the matter is that LeBron James is the best NBA player of the last probably 20 years at least. A lot of people rank him above Michael Jordan. I personally think that there will never be another person as good as Michael Jordan in any sport. I think he's one of the greatest athletes in the history of any of anything athletic, no matter what you're talking about. I mean, you put him up there with Carl Lewis, Muhammad Ali, who's another amazing athlete, Babe Ruth, Michael Jordan, man. LeBron James, nothing to shake a stick at. And in fact, he's not only going to the Los Angeles Lakers, he's also being joined by a bitter rival, Lance Stevenson. Now, for those of you that don't know who that is, Lance Stevenson has played for the Indiana Pacers on 2 occasions, and I remember he also played for the Charlotte Hornets for a while. And I would have hoped that he would have brought the Charlotte Hornets a little higher. I always hoped that that franchise would achieve something, but they haven't done shit, and that's too bad. But Lance Stevenson, I remember there was a series when LeBron was playing for the Heat, and Stevenson was guarding him, and he blew air into his ear. It was pretty awesome. But in every single matchup, eventually, even if Stevenson was able to like get LeBron off of his game for one game or one quarter or whatever, eventually LeBron with the Heat or LeBron with the Cavs would prevail, and Stevenson would go home. They never won a series against LeBron James. And in fact, there are a number of other teams during his career that have very mixed results to less successful results against them. Of course, you could talk about the Spurs. They beat him 4-0 in the finals in 2007, I believe. Swept him, and then they lost to him in 2013 when he was with the Heat, and then they beat him the year after that in 2014. Then of course you have the Lakers, not the Lakers, the Celtics. They played him fairly frequently during the Eastern Conference Finals, and he's always played in the Eastern Conference. So until now, LeBron James is the only person keeping the Eastern Conference competitive in the NBA. Otherwise, if you, I mean, first of all, he's been in the finals every year since 2010. So this is 8 straight years he's been in the NBA Finals. He's won 3 championships in that space of time. So if you think about it, he's won 3 and he's lost 5. 3 of them he lost with the Cavaliers and 2 of them with Miami. He also lost another one with the Cavaliers in his first stint with them. And now he's going to the LA Lakers. Now, I hate the LA Lakers. It has nothing to do with LeBron James. Good for him. He's going to make the money. I do think that athletes are, the whole pro sports enterprise is overvalued. But that's a different discussion for a different day. I'm not going to bring in I'm not even going to bring that into the social aspect of this. It's going to be very interesting seeing him with Lance Stevenson. Then there's the other major headline of the day was Paul George re-signing with Oklahoma City. I believe also that Carmelo Anthony is going to remain there. I don't remember if he had to re-sign or if they decided not to trade him. Maybe I'm wrong. I wasn't paying attention to all the bullshit. Trevor Ariza moved to Phoenix. They dumped a lot of money on him for nothing. And now the big question I think people are asking is whether DeMarcus Cousins, who is one of the better centers in the league, is going to join LeBron in LA. And that would probably, with him, Lance Stevenson, DeMarcus Cousins, and the possibility of Kawhi Leonard being traded there, that would make it a very competitive team for the NBA Western Conference. So then you would have 3 major teams: the Golden State Warriors, Houston Rockets, Cleveland Cavaliers, and on the cusp of the same talent would probably be Oklahoma City with Russell Westbrook, Paul George, and Carmelo Anthony. And then there's other teams that are pretty good. The Utah Jazz were pretty good. I think the Jazz knocked out Oklahoma City this season. I personally I don't care. I don't really have a favorite team in the NBA. Usually, and this year was the first year I really didn't watch almost anything in the NBA in the off season. So I would say that the playoffs are really what people live for, and nobody cares about the regular season anymore. And people who say they don't know what the hell they're talking about. It's not very uncommon that major games nowadays, ones that are televised on national TV, will have a star player sitting out, and then you can't figure out what the hell you're looking at. Whether it's on ESPN or TNT or whatever. I really think the NBA is a joke. And the person I was talking to thought that I was like pulling his leg. No, the NBA is literally a farce. it's a clown college. There's no reason to really look at it as a serious team competition anymore. There's a number of key athletes in the league, Kevin Durant and LeBron James being chief among, well, also Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. Those would be the chief amongst them. And then, there's other like Terry Rozier, of the Boston Celtics. Does anybody really think he's at the top tier of the league at the moment? I don't think so. The Celtics, I think, are coming along. But who's going to be the top team in the East from now on? Nobody's going to care, because it was obvious from this season that there was one player who changed the equation. They could have amazing teams in Toronto and in Boston, and the best team always ended up being Cleveland for one reason, because of LeBron James. Now he's gone. Now the best team in the East is going to be the team that was supposedly good enough to make the NBA Finals if LeBron James hadn't been playing for the Cavaliers this season. It's a joke. It really is. And if LeBron James would have signed with the Atlanta Hawks, would anybody be saying, "Oh, the Atlanta Hawks are an amazing team now"? No. You would be saying that the team led by LeBron James is suddenly a contender. That's what they're saying about the Lakers now. They're a contender in the West. So therefore, the Eastern Conference playoffs are going to be meaningless. Then you have the social aspect of it, and I don't know if I'm overblowing this, but LeBron James is fairly active politically, and of course he opposes President Trump. And I have to say that this to some degree does undermine his whole premise that, we're like the leading activist athletes, whatever, standing up for, and you're not standing up for anything by moving to LA, playing for the Lakers. Good for you. The Lakers are a storied franchise. I hate them, but go ahead. You might as well. And I wish him nothing but the best. I don't have anything personally against him, but politically, when first of all, he accomplished everything he needed to accomplish in Cleveland. There's no reason for anybody in Cleveland to resent him. But the message this kind of sends is that, he wrote an editorial in 2016 telling people who to vote for, telling them to vote for Hillary Clinton. And he was all about, this is the fight that we're on about, and whatever, we're for African Americans is very important, whatever. Well, he is leaving this city again. The team's value is going to plummet. The ticket values are going to plummet. Nobody's going to care about professional basketball in Cleveland for the foreseeable future. And I don't care. I didn't care when he played here either, because, I think the team is kind of, again, I don't believe that it's a team dynamic anymore. I think it's more about individual players and superstars. And personally, it just doesn't get me excited. And nothing against LeBron James, nothing against Carmelo, although Carmelo is kind of a bitch. Nothing against Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade had an amazing career. He came here at the end of his career, and it just seemed like he was mailing it in. And that happens at the end of your career. But when you leave the city that you editorialized like a couple years earlier, it's very important that we vote for this person or whatever. Don't tell us who to vote for. Some people here can't get away. They want to leave, and they can't for whatever reason. I think it might be irrational, but some people they dream of a better life elsewhere, and they don't get a chance. This guy, not only does he just skip town like he did with Miami. This time he goes to LA, granted in a more humble fashion, makes a massive salary, and will likely succeed there in ways that he never did over here. And it's just more evidence that people would rather live elsewhere besides here in Ohio. And I personally think it does send a message that, he feels he's bigger than the place that he comes from, which is, he's LeBron James. Look at who we are. There's nothing else over here that really distinguishes the place. We have the Buckeyes, but they're in Columbus, And you know, personally, I do like the Buckeyes more than I like any of the local teams over here. But I do feel that, you know, he moves to LA. It just further accentuates that the NBA has become a joke. And that's really what I've been saying for the past couple months. So please let me know what you think. Do you feel that LeBron made a move? Like some people are saying it's gonna tarnish his legacy. I don't think it tarnishes his legacy. I think he still remains one of the best players in the history of the sport, possibly in the history of sports, period. I personally will always say, and this is nothing against LeBron, but Michael Jordan is one of the greatest period figures in the history of entertainment, in the history of sports. And in my opinion, there will never be a better basketball player than him. So, I mean, write whatever you want. Maybe you want him to come to your city. You know, if you lived in Portland or whatever, or in, I mean, where else do they, they have the NBA? In Phoenix. If you thought he was coming to Phoenix, I mean, who are you kidding? Maybe you wanted him to come to San Antonio. People were talking about it. People were talking about LeBron James playing in San Antonio. Well, let me know what you thought about it. If you didn't, I mean, some of you, a lot of the people in my audience don't give a shit about the NBA. And I think that they have the right idea. But this is a major topic of discussion where I live. And, you know, in the coming years, it won't be as much. So who knows when's the next time we're going to talk about basketball. We're definitely going to talk about football and baseball, though. So stay tuned. Like the video, comment, share the video, and subscribe.